So it's time for just a little bit of a rant. So over the weekend, I had a really nice weekend. On Saturday, I don't remember what the hell I did. I think, oh, that was my busy day, that's right. Saturday, I made a pie of strawberry rhubarb, and then I went to a neighbor's barbecue. And then in the evening, I went to my uncle's pig roast, which is what the pie was for, because I made him a strawberry rhubarb pie for his birthday, because my grandmother used to make it for him for his birthday all the time, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do that, and to my, well, not complete surprise, one of his friends had also made him a strawberry rhubarb pie, and it looked about 10 times better than mine, so I'm happy she did, because mine was like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough rhubarb for this, because nobody sold rhubarb. Anyway, that's completely extraneous to what I'm ranting about. While at this pig roast, I start talking to my husband, or not my husband, shit. I'm sorry. It's morning time. Haven't had my second cup of coffee yet. Anyway, so my uncle, love my uncle to death, hardworking, strong leader, big plans, great guy. He married this woman, and she's a great woman too. A little bit more chaotic than he is, a little bit more in your face, a little bit more aggressive. He tends to have to reel her back in a little bit sometimes and go, okay, slow down. Let's think about this. Let's think about what's the rational thing to do, and, so on and so forth. But together they make this power couple that's just unstoppable. She is the aggressive side. He is the planning, thinking, rational side, and she is amazing. I love this woman. She's great, and she's intelligent, but he's really guided her, and together they make an amazing team. They're both very conservative. They both voted for Trump, all that stuff, and they live a conservative lifestyle. Now, love this woman. In my mind, she's my aunt. She's not the mother of my cousins from my uncle, but she is my aunt. I feel a lot closer to her than I do to their mother, who was not around when I was growing up. So, very close to my uncle and aunt. My aunt's sister's crazy, though. She does things to try to upset the family. We're conservative. We're not assholes, though. So, for instance, I believe it was around Christmas time or something. This was a few months ago. At least, maybe it was Easter. I don't remember specifically. But it was one of those holiday traditions where you have ham instead of turkey. So, Thanksgiving, you have a turkey. People go all out. They buy the turkey. Christmas and Easter, you buy the ham because it's easier. It cooks faster. It's easier. If you go really into it, some people cook the turkey on Christmas, but more likely than not, it's going to be ham, okay? Because it's just easier. You do the one day a year, you go all out, you put everything into the turkey, you cook it all day, whatever, so on and so forth. Every other time you're eating ham. This motherfucker brought a Muslim to, I don't remember, it was like a Christian holiday where we were eating ham, and he's Muslim. So he couldn't, eat anything. The point of it was to piss my uncle and aunt off because they're so conservative. And this woman's a fucking progressive lunatic, regressive left fucking asshole. And so she brings this Muslim, I think it was like Easter dinner or something, to Easter dinner, Christian holiday, where we're celebrating, and we're eating ham, and he's a Muslim. She didn't piss, so him himself, he's fine. We don't care. We were not assholes to him. We engaged him in conversation and kind of kept our distance because what the fuck, but we were not rude to him. We you know, as my uncle said, you know, it's kind of like, if you're in my home, I'm going to respect you, especially if you're not behaving in a terrible way or anything like that. And that's the perspective you come from. If you are a guest in the home, we treat you with respect. She brought a guest into the home. Now, here's the thing that I thought was really, really shitty. The guy's Muslim. He can't eat anything. We're eating ham right in front of him. How fucking rude do you have to be to think that this is a good idea? How offended was that guy? Like, oh my God, all these fucking Americans eating ham in front of me. I can't. He probably thought it was disgusting. Do you know how those Muslims view eating pork? They view it with disgust. He was probably disgusted the entire time. And she's brought other people to family gatherings and stuff. Like, she's had multiple foster children. Never had a problem with that. Nobody's ever had a legitimate problem with anybody she's brought over. The only time we've ever, like, really talked about it was she brought a Muslim over and we're eating ham. Are you fucking kidding me right now? And it was so purposeful what she was trying to do. She was trying to get a rise out of Ben and my uncle and aunt. And it just not fucking cool. So my sister's baby shower comes around. My aunt and her sister are both there, and they're talking about the property, rising property, not taxes, but rent. The rent around the Portland area and the price of property is going exponentially up. Here's the reason why. Californians and East Coast people and Texans and some Midwesterners really, really like the Portland area for some reason. There's a mass exodus coming up from California. That's the majority of the people. And then we have some people coming from the East Coast because they want to move to a liberal place if they're from a liberal place. And then, you know, you get the random Texans, and apparently Dallas is very liberal down there. So if you're going to get somebody from Texas, probably going to be from Dallas, and, you know, so on and so forth. But we're having a mass of migrants coming in, if you want to call it that. You know, they're all Americans, so they're allowed to live wherever they want. But our population is massively increasing. So yes, because everybody wants to live here, the price of housing is going astronomically high. That's one of the reasons why I live at home. Not and because I'm poor as fuck. I've been essentially, you know, quasi-unemployed for the past year. I was doing Uber. That fucking sucks. Don't do that. No, just don't do it. Unless it's like a side thing where you want to make some extra cash or something like that, don't do Uber. So they're talking about these property taxes and what the crazy aunt want, or not the aunt. My aunt's not crazy. She's, you know, she's a little crazy. She's crazy reined in, you know. You can use crazy as a weapon as long as it's reined in a little bit. And that's her. Her sister's unabated crazy. And she wants just a freeze on, you know, housing prices. She doesn't want landlords who go, you know what? If I kick my tenants out, remodel this, I can make these units go for about double the cost or triple the cost of what I'm getting now. It would be an amazing investment and amazing return. She doesn't want that to happen. She wants those buildings to stay shitty. She wants the rent prices to stay low, and she doesn't want any of the landlords kicking out their tenants because they can't afford the rent. And that really, really fucking sucks for them. But guess what? You cannot control the market forces. And if somebody owns property, they are allowed to do with it as they please, as long as the contracts are up. Look, my parents are amazing landlords. We have a fella up in a couple hours north of here. My parents own a couple houses up there. And we actually moved him from one house to the bigger house with the expectation that he would keep care of the bigger yard for the same amount of rent, it being a way bigger house. And so my parents have actively worked with him, and he's a good renter too. But not all situations are like that. And in Portland, the landlords might not have the sort of personal relationships that my parents have with their tenants. The tenants that, rent out our houses up there. My parents have very personal relationships with them. That's why we felt comfortable moving the one tenant from the smaller house to the bigger house and keeping the rent the same. That's why, because we trusted them, we knew them, we understood them, and it was enough to pay our mortgage, or my parents' mortgage rather. It's not mine. And so that type of thing can happen when you have those interpersonal relationships. But if you own a big apartment complex and you're the owner and not even the manager of it or whatever, like you might have hired somebody, what the fuck are you going to care if you kick a few hundred people out to renovate and make more money than you had been making before? What are you going to care? You're not going to care. And that's the thing. You shouldn't have to care. These people are responsible for their own lives. Yeah, it fucking sucks that property and rent is getting so astronomically high around here. Guess what? They can move out to Gresham. Gresham's still, I believe, fairly cheap out there. It's the shittier part of town. And that sounds cruel, but if you really need housing and you work in Portland, there's a tram all the way from Gresham to out to Hillsborough. I mean, they put in a shit ton of mass transit to get all the way from Gresham out to Hillsborough. Goes straight through Portland out to Hillsborough. So there is the capacity to get around. And they're just going to have to move. And that's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you get a booming economy town. And these people, they talk about like gentrification as if it's some terrible thing. No, you're making the neighborhoods nicer. You're providing jobs for people. Those people before who are having a hard time struggling for rent, yeah, they might still be struggling for rent, but at least they have a job now. Like, go fuck yourselves. Anyway, gentrification I'm totally for, because it makes neighborhoods nicer. It does. And a lot of times it happens bit by bit. It's not like, companies come in and buy an entire town. No, they buy certain buildings, they renovate the buildings, they generally put apartments on top and storefronts on the bottom, and it looks really, really nice when they do it well. And then it provides housing for people, jobs for people, and just empowers the rest of the community and the economy as well. So she's viewing it all negatively. This crazy woman's viewing the rising property as a bad thing. I view it as a good thing. It means our economy is exploding right now. People want to be here. People want to do business here. Intel, Nike, Adidas, big company names want to do business here. Portland's the new hotspot, man. This is where you want to be if you want to be successful. At least in this area. And she doesn't seem to understand that. Portland is not going to stay the same. Alright, so why is that relevant to what I'm talking about? Well, my uncle and aunt, my uncle's a big dreamer, big planner. He's got ideas. And so he actually retired a little bit earlier than he planned. And one of the reasons why is because they wanted to give him this giant, severance package, right? And he was like, oh, if I leave early, I'll get this? Oh, fuck yeah, I'll go. And what he did was he took that money and he started spending on short sales. So, a short sale would be, you can't pay your mortgage on the on your home, and so the bank repossesses it. They want to get the remaining money back, so they sell the house for whatever the remainder is. And it's a long, complicated process, but you can buy property cheap doing that. And so what he does, he buys property cheap. They're usually shitty homes. He goes in, he renovates them, he makes them habitable, he makes them, you know, nice to live in, and then he rents it out. And yes, proper tax, you know, cost of rent's going up, so he's going to be charging, you know, the proper amount of rent for the economy that's going on right now. And this is why the conversation between my aunt and her sister at the baby shower about rent prices in Portland was so relevant to her, and they kind of got in a tiff about it. And I think, you know, Kathy, my aunt, she just kind of tries to keep hands off, but her sister gets ticked and shit and all this crap. Okay, so fast forward to the pig roast. The pig roast happens, and I talked to the sister for a few minutes. Not pleased with that at all. One of the first things I said to her was that I had gotten a job at Walmart. And she laughed at me. Like, it was a real, like, oh, Walmart. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she started laughing for real and then tried to turn it into kind of a giggle, like, oh, yeah, you got a job at Walmart. No, it was a real laugh. Like, she was laughing at the fact that I was working at Walmart. And I gotta tell you, having been quasi-unemployed for a year, having a nice steady job where I know I'm going to get a paycheck every month. And by the way, Walmart just raised their minimum wage in the area to like $11.25, which is enough for me to pay my bills. Holy fuck, I'm so happy. And it's a great fucking store. It's like the best place I've ever worked for, because and I've worked for 2 different Walmarts, and I worked for 2 residential treatment facilities, and then I did Uber for about a year, which was shitty as fuck. I gotta tell you, I'm enjoying this store where I'm working right now. All my coworkers, the management, the environment, where I'm living, you know, it's within, you know, 10 minutes of my house. I can go home on my lunch breaks, because I have hour-long lunch breaks, and go hang out and go sit by the river or play with my dog or do whatever. And it makes me so happy. I love this job. And she sits there and she laughs at me for it. And then she proceeds to try to get me to go apply down to Market of Choice, which is just down the road from where I work, because her daughter works there. She's like, oh, they pay them more and they treat them better and blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to get into it with her. I was really offended. She had left. But she's the type of person where, you know, you just don't want to fucking engage. And then I was telling her that I was living at home, and I was saying that I couldn't afford rent, so blah, 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 you know, and she's like, she starts going on with the rent, and I think to myself, I should not have mentioned the rent. And then she starts mentioning about how, well, she doesn't think things are going to get better anytime soon with Clear, like, and I know this is sounding very unconnected, but if you knew her, you'd understand. That was a jab at the U.S. in general and the presidency and the economy of Portland getting better and stuff. She views it as a bad thing. The motherfucker is trying to tell me not to work at Walmart, to go work at Market of Choice, because they pay better, which I don't know if that's true. I'm getting paid $11.25 an hour. I am very, very happy about that. There's no guarantee that Market of Choice is going to be any better. Walmart tries to stay competitive. They try to stay competitive to try to keep their associates, because you keep your associates longer, you don't have the costs of hiring that you do. You don't have the cost of training new people constantly. They've poured money into their training systems so that their associates feel like they're better trained when they go out on the floors. And it's hard in super centers. But you get into a small neighborhood market like where I'm working, it is such a decent work environment. And all the people I work with are friendly. And here's the other fucking thing. That bitch, she's talking about an area where people are making $120,000 a year. This woman is so fucking privileged in terms of her economic status and where she lives and the economy around her and all that crap. She has no idea how much of a paradise we live in. And and she sits there and she's had foster kids and she's liberal and she's empathetic and all this fucking shit. Do you know how easy it is to get a job at Walmart? I'm not trying to diss on it, but it's really, really easy to get a job at Walmart. That's why I applied there. I'm like, I need a fucking job. I've worked there before. I understand how to cashier. They're gonna be, and I was thinking to myself, going through my job experience, I've dealt with violent teenagers punching holes in the wall. I think I can deal with snobby customers who are going to be gone in 5 seconds. Oh, we don't have enough checkers? Yeah, I totally understand. You're still angry. Okay, yeah, well, you know what? We just hired a bunch of people, and right now we're training them. I'm new, so, no, I understand the issue, yes. Oh, yes, yeah, you know what? I understand. We get that there's an issue. We're trying to fix it right now. And then by the end, you got them smiling, and they walk out the door, and they think to themselves, oh, what a great experience. What a lovely young woman. Ah, she's such a sweetheart. Meanwhile, I'm over here thinking, oh, what a fucking whiny-ass little bitch. She has no idea the type of suffering that's out in the world. And I just think it's funny. That's how I get through my life. I'm like, these people, they're whining over this stupid fucking shit. Anyway, that's a side tangent. But it's like, the elitism. Yeah, you want me to go work at a place where the price of food is like 2 or 3 times the cost. Why? For prestige? Because you don't like Walmart? Because they might pay me 25 cents more an hour for a work environment that I'm not sure if it's going to be any better than where I work or not. And my work environment, my coworkers, where I work right now, absolutely fucking amazing, and they absolutely fucking love me, and I'm getting trained to do more things than just what I was hired for, and I am very, very, very pleased at where I'm working. It just made me so angry, and I told my dad that she had laughed at me for working at Walmart, and his response is, she's just a cunt. or I think that's what he said. That's how I remember. He might have said bitch, because they don't like to use, my parents don't like to use the C word. Oh my goodness. My mom doesn't like it. She doesn't like the word cunt or pussy or anything like that. See, for me, it's like, my generation's like, cunt, pussy, fuck, twat, all this shit. But my parents aren't into that, so I have to watch my language around them. My dad's a little less controlled in his speech. He really doesn't like her. And I watched her at this party, and she just kind of wandered from person to person, and she literally, I think, just went around pissing everybody off. And it wasn't like she was trying to, but her elitist attitude, like, dude, you had foster people in your house. You had the poor people. You should have been shopping at Walmart. You should have been using the WIC and the EBT and the SNAP and all those government-assisted programs. And you should have been shopping at the cheapest fucking store in town to help them learn how to budget and control their finances and stuff like that. Let me guess. You didn't fucking do that. You went shopping for her. You bought expensive food. You might have used their WIC and SNAP and stuff like that. But you went to the more expensive stores because you can't stand giant corporate entities like Walmart. You really think Market of Choice is that much better because it started in Eugene and there's only like, what, 10 or 20 stores as opposed to thousands? I think Walmart probably has, let's see, my store is in the 5,000s. They probably have at least 10,000 stores. And they've got stores all over the world. They've got stores in Chile. They've got stores in China. They've got stores probably in Japan. I don't know. Just all over the fucking place. And it's understandable. And they do really well for themselves. And they have really good cheap prices. That's where people should be shopping if you're poor. You go to Walmart, you can buy a really good quality steak for like $5. You buy the same steak at Safeway for $5. It's gonna be a piece of shit. You're gonna chew on it and go. Meanwhile, the steaks at Walmart, they're all like marbled with fat. Oh God, they're so delicious. This is what I'm saying. Go shop at Walmart for your steak. Because they are cheaper. And the elitism to it is like, dude, I needed a fucking job. I knew I could get a job at Walmart. I knew I would be able to pay my bills. I knew I'd have a steady paycheck. And it just makes me angry. It makes me angry that this bitch who's complaining about, you know, the rising cost of rent and stuff is laughing at me for where I work. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. I know you're an elitist cunt. But why do you have to shit upon where I work? Why do you have to do that? That's not an appropriate response. Every single one of my other family members, when I told them I was working at Walmart, they went, oh, congratulations. Do you like where you're working? Do you like your coworkers? What are your hours like? When did you get that job? And, you know, they were interested or whatever. They at least, or they at least fringed interest. Even if they thought to themselves, oh, that's a shitty job. They at least pretended, oh, what a great job. Oh, congratulations. Her initial response was to laugh. It shows a great deal of just lack of humility. And here's the thing. I am not too egotistical to take a job at Walmart as a cashier. I want to pay my bills, I want to get ahead in life, and I understand that the only way that I'm going to get myself ahead in life is to have the stability of a full-time job where I know I'm going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And here's the other thing, you know, like, Jordan Peterson's big, and I was listening to him the other day, and he was talking about domains of competency. And you have to have humility to work within domains of competency. You have, you know, it does not help you to try to overshoot what you're competent at. You can get more competent as you get more training, you get more skills, you get more experience. I see a huge difference in how I was the first time I was a cashier at Walmart in the Supercenter, the first time I had a job, and my competency now, 4 years later. And I'm so much more competent. I'm so much more confident. My competency level is like way up here for, you know, a cashier, you know, just way up. And because my competency level is so high for being a cashier, I'm being trained on, you know, the customers. I'm going to be anyway. Customer service desk, the self-checkouts, other stuff. They're going to be expanding my responsibilities and training me more because I already have a certain level of competency in something else. I knew I could get a job as a cashier. I'd done it before. I understood it. I thought to myself, that's going to be fucking easy. And I need a job. I just need a fucking job to get myself going. In whether or not I move up through the ranks of Walmart, or if that's just my starting point so that I can go back to school and get that dental hygienist degree like I thought about doing. It doesn't matter. The fact is I was humble enough to go get a job at Walmart. As elitist as the motherfuckers around here who claim to be for the poor and I'm so empathetic, I'm so progressive, I'm so blah 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 blah. You didn't want me to have a job at Walmart. You want me to go work with your daughter at Market of Choice where poor people can't even shop because they can't afford anything in that store. You're an elitist bitch. That's all you are. You have no humility. I have humility. I do not see a problem with anybody taking a job at Walmart. People, laugh about it. They're like, oh, if you have no skills, the only job you're going to be able to do is work at Walmart or Uber, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's the joke. It's like, okay, so you have to work at Walmart for a few months while you get your feet underneath yourself, where you figure out what the fuck you're going to do. Have the humility to do that. It's so easy to get a job at Walmart. Like, there's no reason why you should be unemployed if you want a job. You just have to have the humility to take the low-end jobs first and work your way up to getting the better jobs. It's like, okay, for instance, if you're a guy, you've got a mortgage to pay, you've got kids to feed, and maybe you got some money saved up, but you just got laid off your job, you don't know what you're gonna do. Go apply at Walmart. Get yourself that part-time job. Get yourself a full-time job and start applying to the jobs you really, really want. At least you'll have some money coming in. Isn't that better than not having any money at all? Have humility, people. Don't laugh at motherfuckers because they're working their asses off. That's the other thing that pisses me off. Like, I'm sitting here. I'm trying to work my fucking ass off. I'm giving it 110% at work. I am pouring my soul into it because I understand that I want to get ahead in life. I came to the realization, and I've had this realization for a very long time, that I am spoiled, right? Western civilization, I don't think my skin tone has anything to do with it, but my parents, they provided me a stable, loving household. They provided opportunity upon opportunity. I got to go to a really, really good private Catholic university that was very expensive, partly because I worked my ass off in high school and got the scholarship for half the tuition off, and partly because they shelled out the money for me to go there. And my thought process is, okay, I'm fucking spoiled. I live on the river. My parents have AC. We have this nice fucking yard. I love gardening. I love the view. I love the scenery. I love having space and time to myself and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And, came to the realization that I want to stay like that. And the only way I'm going to stay spoiled like that is to work my fucking ass off. I've watched my dad work his fucking ass off. Watched my mom not do so much working her fucking ass off. It's very obvious which of the two is providing this lifestyle, and it's not my mom. I think to myself, well, what do I want to be happy in life? I want a land, I want a house. I would prefer to either have a pond or a river or something in my backyard. Some sort of water feature, even if I have to put it in myself. And I want acreage so I can have like a small farm or something. That's what I want out of life. I mean, I have bigger plans than that, like bigger dreams. They're fantasies at this point because I'm not in the space to even consider them at this point. But I have these ideas, I have these goals, I have these dreams, and I'm thinking to myself, if I just get, a few acres, a nice house, maybe a water feature, I will be super happy with that, That's what I need to be happy. That's what I consider being spoiled. And preferably, a house with AC and stuff like that. And I understand I have to work my ass off if I want to get there myself. And it's been a long process. But it takes humility. It takes the determination, it takes willpower, it takes strength. It takes working within your domain of competencies and then expanding those domain of competencies. And the idea is you want to expand your domain of competencies so that you start encompassing other domains of competency. And the more domains of competency that you have, the more powerful of an individual and the more successful you will be. But it has to start somewhere. And you have to throw 100, 110%, 150%, 200% of your soul into it to make it happen. My dad has worked day after day, year after year, almost every fucking day of his life. You know, other than vacations and... Yeah, but even when we go out to go have fun, he's sitting there and he's putting work into it. You know, oh, we gotta get the RAS set up. Let's get these blown up. Let's go shopping. Let's get the cooler, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. It all takes sacrifice. Yeah, I'm working at Walmart. Go fuck yourself if you care. But I like it there. I'm making my paycheck. I'm making my life work for myself. The fact that you sit there and you laugh at me, go fuck yourself. And this woman, she's going to... She's a pariah. She's more than welcome in the house, but nobody wants to have a real conversation with her. No one wants to fucking talk to her. No one wants to get into it with her, because she wants to start a fight. She wants to start a conflict. That's what she wants to throw her elitist ideals on the rest of us. Meanwhile, the rest of us are working our asses off. And she's complaining about the rent prices. I'm sorry, if your rent's going up, work harder. Get a better job. Work at it. Don't sit there and complain about it. Don't sit there and think that the government has to do something about something that's really uncontrollable. The fact that investors want to come in here, you think the city should just kick them out? Go, nope, we're not going to be a booming economy. You fuckers need to get the fuck out. That's just the wrong way to look at it. There's going to be so many opportunities. So many. Because of the economy and the fact that rent prices are going up. Yeah, that fucking sucks. That's why I'm going to go buy land out in the middle of the country. But guess what? If I were to, theoretically, my big dream would be have a piece of land that's maybe 10 or 12 acres, maybe a little bit bigger, and have the front end of it, the part that's like closest to the road and stuff, be like a little community, like family pumpkin patch farm. You come, you know, I grow, you know, produce to sell and stuff like that. And then and then I'd be close enough to Portland, though, so the Portlanders, who they're like, we're going to go out into the country and explore, they'll come across it and be like, oh my god, look how quaint, all these vegetables, this is so cute. And then you make a ton of money off of those fucking city dwellers. You could even franchise it out, you know, like, I know, I'm getting, like, way ahead of myself, but, like, those are real goals, and I'm seeing the growth of Portland as a good thing. So, I don't know. Guess my message is work hard and be humble. Be humble and be willing to take that shitty job so that you can move yourself forward. You have to constantly be progressing yourself. If you're not progressing yourself, you are going to stagnate and you are not going to be successful. The world is constantly changing out there. And if you can't change with it, you're not going to get anywhere in life. And you have to have the humility to understand where your domain of competencies are so that you can start with a domain of competency that you're comfortable in and then expand from there. You have to start on land that you know is stable. You have to have a stable space to stand so you can look around at you at all the possibilities. And when you have somewhere stable to stand, you can look for the next spot to tip your toe off and see if that's stable. And maybe it's not stable at first, but you're still on stable land, so you can pull your toe back until you're ready to take that next step. But you have to get to stable land to start off with, which means you have to work within your domains of competency, which means you have to have humility. Yeah, this rant was mostly because she pissed me the fuck off by laughing at me working at Walmart. Like, go fuck yourself.